Hey guys, it's Frostling here, back with another video, and today we are in Clash of Clans, and I have made this video basically just to cover all of what has happened in Clash of Clans from 2012 to now, where I came in, and basically how it all just played out. But real quick guys, before we get into the video, I would like to apologize for not really uploading many videos recently, because depending when you see this, it has been about a month since I posted a video, and though I can probably blame some of that against some issues I've had when it comes to video editing and other busy things like that. Honestly, it all comes down to the fact that I just kind of got a little burnt out of things not working out right. But I am going to still do YouTube. It's not like I'm quitting. I just kind of took a short break. I'm going to see if I can get back a little bit more regular anyway. But either way, let's get into the video. So first, since it's the 5th clashiversary update, let's just talk about what has happened through there. So currently, we have you can see we are on the screen right here where the builder is back, and so are almost all of the special events. Sadly, the shrink trap is gone. Honestly, it was kind of controversial, but I kind of liked it, assuming it didn't affect war, which it did. But, honestly, on multiplayer battles, I kind of like the shrink trap. It just adds a fun little feature to it. But either way, with the things that were added with the special event, the first week you had, the 1 week 1 gem boosts per day, and then you also had the cakes, which I can show getting rid of right here on the screen, you can see, and I did end up getting, I believe, 7, that, although the event is still going on, so I may get more, but, I did get 7, and what you can do is basically it costs 25,000 elixir to get rid of, but you do gain 75,000 elixir out of it, so that's a profit of 50,000 elixir. Really helpful for low-level accounts, because I do have a couple secondary accounts that I can use to, do content at low level for you guys, which is really nice, and it'll help for progressing them. So either way, you can see that with 75,000 elixir there. And basically, the other thing that they did the first week, along with the troops, which I'll get on to later, but they got the clashiversary pack, which was really big for the packs that Clash of Clans gives, giving you 10 million gold, 10 million elixir, 150,000 dark elixir, and 2,500 gems. Now, that is at when you're at max Town Hall 11, but that is the max you can get from it, so definitely the biggest deal they've ever had there. But you can also see, now that we're on the last week and the builder is back, they do have the builder statue pack, which gives you 500 gems and a builder statue, which is not currently possible to obtain in the game besides this pack. Whether it will be in the future, I don't know, but either way, that's definitely interesting. But I'm not going to get either of those packs, just whether you can see it or not. This is actually a non-gemming account. May look like I have 6,000 gems, but I didn't pay for a single one of them, so either way, that's that. And basically, you also got a video for the builder leaving and returning, and onto the troop part of it. We started out the first week with the battle ram, which you can see is still here and has came back. And before we get past this, I would like to say they have changed the battle ram to where it targets walls, does 4 times damage. Basically, the barbarians have been buffed to where they actually are good for your town hall level. I know when they first came, they were literally level 1 barbarians that were weaker than skeletons, so can't say they were good, but now they actually are a little bit of a force to reckon with. But that is it for the battle ram, and I actually do say they are fairly good. I will show you them compared to the wall breakers, and they actually do replace wall breakers pretty decently, so I'll show you that in a minute. Then the next week was the giant. He was in the builder hut. Let's see, where is my, there we go. We do have the builder in the builder hut, but it was the giant, and the giant will come out of the builder hut when it is destroyed in a battle. So that was definitely interesting, but they were level 1 giants and didn't really do a ton. I like the events that really changed the game. I don't want them to affect war too much, but I do like things that kind of add a change to the game, actually affect it. And I would say the buffed battle ram and the shrink trap for the witch definitely did that. Speaking of which, we are on to the witch, and she brought the shrink trap, which you could place in your village, and it would shrink any troop that came across, which basically just made it so that a troop went slower and did less damage. It was actually pretty good. Then the Wizard basically just added the birthday boom, which was a spell that does a little bit of damage, a little bit of freeze, but honestly wasn't all that great. But as we show you what all these things do that are currently in the game besides the shrink trap, you can see, first of all, we just have the battle ram versus the wall breakers. Since this account's walls really aren't that high level, I will show you the wall breakers and battle ram on a different base to show you how they work out. But that is them right there, and then basically the freeze trap is not the freeze trap. Basically the birthday boom just does some damage there, but it looks like it does more damage than it actually does. We'll just send in a couple witches to show you the giant, since didn't actually come out of the builder hut. But basically, guys, the giant comes out and does a little bit of damage, but doesn't do a ton besides distraction. You can see just about to go in and get 2 giants to pop out. Boom! They each took out like 1 or 2 skeletons. Didn't really do much, though. So we're going to go on to Mega Mansion here, and you can see there are some perfect walls for us to attack. So you can see we're going to do 2 battle rams. Takes 2 to take out that wall. Wall breakers also takes 2, but the wall breakers do a tiny bit more damage per wall breaker. Makes sense, because the battle ram spawns, barbarians. So, what we're going to do now is just basically drop a rage and show you what happens when you bring in the battle rams and the wall breakers. The battle rams are a lot faster to do what they do, which makes it a little bit easier to get through the base, which is definitely a plus, but they do take more housing spaces, like I have said previously. And you can see now pretty much everything is taken out wall-wise, and there's going to be no issue for these witches to just overrun the base, even though there's only 10 of them. And the battle ram is definitely a fun troop, in my opinion. I definitely like it now that it targets walls. It's actually useful, and you can use it in your army, because when it first came out, it really didn't do much of anything, and it was pretty much useless. So that'll basically do it for this. I mean, obviously, the base doesn't really matter. It more matters that we showed you what happens with the wall breakers and the battle rams, but that'll basically do it. You can see the Santa surprise, not the Santa surprise, the birthday boom. It freezes for just a tiny bit and does a little bit of damage, but not really a ton. So either way, that'll basically wrap up this raid. And now that we're done with the stuff that came in with the updates, let's move on to just Clash of Clans achievements and stuff in general like that. And so, I mean, most of you know this, but Clash of Clans came out in 2012, and it's currently 2017. So, me personally, I joined about June 2015. So, I've been here for about 2.25 years, about half of Clash of Clans history, basically. And, I definitely think the game has changed a lot since then, to be completely honest. But, I feel like the true veterans are the ones that came, in the very beginning. But I definitely have seen a lot, even though I came a little bit late to the party. But you guys can tell, I've definitely enjoyed this game. Already at Town Hall 10, so definitely progressing very well. And that, though not a lot of this is supposed to be meant about me, let's go on to other stuff. So, when the game first came out, all that was there was Town Hall 8, if I'm correct, and we are already up to Town Hall 11, so 3 Town Halls higher, so doesn't seem like much, but it actually is a lot when you consider how much longer it takes to max out each of those next 3 Town Hall levels. But, like, through the history, we have had, heroes weren't a thing, and now they are. We now have dark troops, we have the village guard, which isn't a huge deal, but it definitely is kind of a nice little feature that you can attack and still have the guard. Either way, so many unique features that have been added. Almost double the troops. If you include the battle ram, technically speaking, there is double the troops, but if you disclude the battle ram, which I am because, honestly, it's a temporary thing, but, it started out, there was just the barbarian through the P.E.K.K.A., and then, that basically just did it, but now there's, like, 9 more troops, 10 if you include the battle ram, and a ton more, diverse, gameplay and strategies that you could do, and I definitely think the new troops have definitely impacted the game a lot, and changed it for the better. And speaking of troops, the army training itself has even changed a lot. I mean, you went from having 4 barracks that you have to queue up individually to having 1 that you can have like a quick train feature, and you can, have them all train at the same time. Speaking of training, you can also, they've decreased the time of training for a lot of things. I remember back when one spell took like 40 minutes or something absurd like that, but definitely has changed a lot when it comes to army training and army in general. But on to Clan Wars. Clan Wars was the first big, well, not the first big update, but the biggest update for its time on Clan Wars. It was just the biggest updates that we have seen to its date. And it definitely, in my opinion, is still the best feature in the game, just considering, there's competitive Clan Wars, there's, obviously the CWL, along with just, clans just love doing war either way. It doesn't really matter whether you're competitive or casual. Honestly, my clan's not that competitive, but it's still fun to do wars, even still, just, fun to see what you can do and how far you can go. But either way, it definitely has been one of the best additions to the game possible. And the next biggest one, in my opinion, is probably the Builder Base that came out really recently, just earlier this year, actually. And it actually was, pretty much, besides the fact that you couldn't do a ton of attacks per day, it definitely was a really good update, in my opinion. I'd say they should change it to where you can do 5 attacks per day, but at the same time, they don't want you progressing too quickly, otherwise there'd be a bunch of maxed out people the first day, and that definitely wouldn't be good. Either way, it definitely was really good. I know a lot of people have been requesting for night mode. A lot of people want to own multiple villages. I did do like 2 sneak peek videos over the update, and, I can't say there were a ton of sneak peeks per se, but there were a bunch of leaks that they posted. But either way, the Builder Base has had a bunch of new troops, even a hero, so it definitely is good in and of itself. And now on to obstacles. I know they don't seem that important, but they actually are pretty unique in and of themselves. There are 9 special objects if you, 10 if you include the gem box, and basically, you can't keep the 2012 Christmas tree. It basically deleted itself once, the Christmas time was over, so sadly you couldn't keep that. But if you have all of the others besides the 2012 Christmas tree, then you really are like a veteran in your base. But really, I mean, there's so far, 9 special obstacles that, are seasonal. And personally, I like to keep one from each season, and I try to get one to the outside of my village. And funny enough, all of them, for me at least, have been on the bottom half of my village. You can see once we finish this replay here, we will go back and show you that. But it's definitely interesting how, it's been that way. And all of them have been down there. Doesn't really affect anyone else, just kind of a fun fact for my village. Another thing is just the amount of Clash of Clans commercials that have came out over the years of Clash of Clans. I mean, there's countless numbers of them. There's probably at least 20 minutes worth of them, maybe more like 15, but still a ton of video worth, and they're all really funny, which is great. But either way, when it comes to like just all the small features that Clash of Clans adds, it really does make a big difference. As you can see on this replay, we are going to run out of time before we can get the base down, but it was a 96%, so that was a pretty good base attack. And you can see all the 2 Christmas trees I have, the 2 Halloween things that I have, and the 5th anniversary cake that I have, all of which on the bottom of my base. So yeah, I only have 2 of each, but then again, I mean, I did say I've only been around for 2.25 years, so kind of makes sense. But either way, on to the next point that I wanted to put out. There's better troop AI. So honestly, like, over the years, I mean, if you remember the stuff back from the very original Clash of Clans, you would place like 5 barbarians, and there'd be 3 different walls that they all go for, and it really would be annoying because it'd be hard to get them to break through the wall, and it would be very difficult for them to, get to the defenses. So, wall attacking for all troops in general have actually increased a lot, and have gotten a lot better through that. And specifically witch troops have gotten a lot better. The wall breakers, they now, since troops in general target walls better, the wall breakers will now target walls that, well, they specifically have a better AI where they're gonna attack walls that have buildings behind them, which is really useful so they don't attack a random wall sticking in the middle of nowhere. So, that's definitely a plus. And you can definitely tell that there's plenty of AI in the wall breakers that have been helping us. And onto the Archer Queen. The Archer Queen, most people just joke about how her favorite target is walls. She just, had really bad AI back in the day, and I can't say she won't ever attack walls, but generally these days, if she attacks walls, it's for a reason, and she definitely has gotten a lot better in that sense, to where she no longer targets random stuff. Like, you can see that Archer Queen, she could have attacked the cannon and army camp down there, and she decided to go for the wall. Actually ends up being not that bad when it comes to why she attacked the wall, but either way, she has gotten a lot better and won't attack random walls. Onto the healers, oftentimes they'll heal something that's, completely full on health, and then there's something that's on, 5% HP, and they won't even heal it. Well, as much as that is kind of annoying, they have changed that now to where it is a little bit better now, and definitely has increased on that. They will now be a little bit better on targeting hurt things, and before we go into this last attack here, I'm going to pause it real quick. Just with the combination of everything that's been added to Clash of Clans, there's over 3 times the gameplay, and it's just 3 times the game it once was, and it's just so much bigger, and in my opinion, a lot better. So, it definitely has been a big game since it originally released, and is my opinion, my personal favorite mobile game ever, because, I'll have games that I like better in it, but they never last as long. I always get bored of them eventually. Clash of Clans never was that way. But either way, there's many things I'm probably forgetting on, the clashiversary / Clash history subject. But either way, I do kind of want to commentate on this battle a little bit here, guys, because this was definitely an interesting one. I did want to make sure I got plenty of loot since it was all in the collectors. So I started out with a Queen Walk, getting her to the bottom of the base so that we can all funnel up into the town hall, because I am trophy pushing, but I also want to get the loot since we are trying to max out that town hall 10 there. So, basically I wanted my queen to get all those collectors with the healers. Sadly, the air defense starts targeting, the, healers, and, the queen ends up being okay, but, we do have to start the second phase of the attack quickly, otherwise the queen will die. So, witches and bowlers to funnel on the right, and then the king and other bowlers go on the bottom for the big kill of the attack. King does take some pretty big abuse, but he's the main tank, and as long as it's okay, if he survives. So, as you can see, wall breakers will get through pretty much the whole core, really. And you can see there are some bowlers that are going to funnel off to the side. Not necessarily the best thing in the world, but it is going to work out eventually. The king is not going to die because of that heal spell. The queen, the defending queen will go down. And basically, the witches and bowlers are actually really helpful on the side, because they, can clear a bunch of structures that way. Though these bowlers right here actually are not being the most helpful. They have been better by the queen. They still are doing some good, even though they will die eventually with no tank, with the king. Now, look at this queen. She's taking damage, but I didn't want to use her ability yet. So I used the freeze spell, making the Tesla re-aggro onto the king, being a really good move there so that my queen stays alive, but I don't need to use her ability. Very important there. You can see all the bowlers on the bottom are dead now, but the witches are still alive, trying to go along. Tesla is now down. We are now on to the last portion of the base, 80% of the way done. I put in 2 wizards just to aid the witches, just because, nothing else to do with them. Now you can see the king's gonna die, and I'm about to use my queen's ability, and that was a bad time to use it, because she had very little health and would have died to 2-shot of anything, maybe even 1-shot, but she had not been targeted by anything yet. And if I had waited just half of a second before I had pressed that, then her ability would have had enough time to take out the Tesla there, and she would not have died. Well, she would have died, but she would have taken out the Tesla, giving us more time in the raid. Well, not more time, but basically making it so that we can get through the base quicker because there's more structures down. sadly, we got 2 witches and 2 minions left, and the skeletons from the witches are just about to take out the Tesla. You can see, I mean, it's so close to going down, but it just will not fall. And so, sadly, that means the witches need to come in and take it out themselves. One of them dies. We got 2 minions, 10 seconds left to take out that cannon over there. Can we do it? It looks like we will. We have 5 seconds. It's going down. 3, 2, 1. And the minions, they both threw their projectile, but it wasn't fast enough. Very few times do the projectile speed come into effect, but it does at times, and that was really annoying there. But either way, guys, that pretty much wraps it up for this video. I'm probably forgetting a bunch of things, like I said earlier, but honestly, I'm not exactly sure how long this game will last long-term wise, but I'm definitely thinking I will be there the whole way through, because it is definitely my favorite game long-term anyway. Just the mobile game in my mind is, you know, I just feel like I've played a lot of games that I like, some of which even more in Clash of Clans, but I always get bored of them and eventually stop liking them as much. Clash of Clans is the only one that I have loved so much for so long, and it definitely is my favorite mobile game, and probably always will be, honestly. But either way, guys, that'll do it for this video. Not much else to say, but happy 5th clashiversary, and hope they do some more special event stuff like this in the future, because I really, you know, it definitely is a fun aspect of the game. Either way, that'll do it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.